Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Vortex Vanity with Boyan. I'm the Boyan in question. I'm here to answer any questions that you might have from Eastern Orthodox Christian perspective, and I'm a reader of the Serbian Orthodox Church. Today's question is an interesting one that I did not expect to be asked, but that is one of the more interesting aspects of being a content creator in this field, and that is whether having a food disorder, more specifically anorexia, is a sin. This is a very difficult one because there are so many aspects to this question. Whether it's environmental, social, the questions of will, of choice, of temptation, and so on and so forth. So let us start with some sort of introductory, considerations. Anorexia is interesting because it does play with men's passions. It definitely does. But the interesting thing about it is that it goes against one of the most powerful driving forces that is passions that we humans have, and that is gluttony. Gluttony is a known passion in Orthodox theology. It is one of the 8 principal passions, and it is usually listed as the first one from which practically all others spring forth. And it is interesting that anorexia goes against it, even though anorexia is still, in a way, gluttonous because it is a form of addiction. However, where gluttony is addiction to food, anorexia is, in a way, this isn't a medical definition, this is just my opinions that might very much be wrong, so feel free to correct me. Anorexia is addiction to hunger, again, that hunger has its sort of goal to lose as much as weight as possible for whatever reason. However, what makes this a disease, an illness, is that it is misplaced. Whether this is a sin is something you need primarily to discuss with the priest with whom you have confessions. And if it's, different priests for whatever reason, you need to ask them in every specific instance of confession if need be. However, I want to give some of my opinions on it. First of all, I think that the primary question here is how much of an input did you have in actually suffering from anorexia? Because from what I've read, anorexia is caused in part by genetic factors, environmental factors, and so on. How much so to speak, do you buy into the modern story of an ideal body, which is, for women it's very thin yet very thick when it comes to certain body parts, whether for men it's generally very lean or very muscular, a fit physique, even though even obtaining a mediocre fit physique can be a considerable issue, as I myself well know. So, thing is, all of the forces of the world, devil primarily, but all of his, servants in this or that form, are vying for our attention. He, the devil, and his demon assault us with vanity. You need to look this way to be liked and so on. And the sad matter of the fact, there is some truth in it, but only from people who have actually bought that narrative. You will be liked with a hot body by people who appreciate hot people, and that is not a good form of attention. Anorexia is also caused in large part by body dysmorphia, and this is again a separate issue that I would not consider sinful myself, again, because anorexia is then a way to remedy this situation, but because body dysmorphia causes, as its name says, a distortion in how we perceive ourselves, that means that any excessive dieting will result in rather poor health or even much more worse outcome. So my question for you is, how much do you buy into these modern narratives? How much do you diet out of vanity and similar reasons. And most importantly, how far do you go to regulate your anorexia? Are you getting treatment? Are you seeing doctors? Are you seeing therapists? I am not really all that certain how anorexia is cured, but if you have the condition, you're probably aware of the ways it is treated, and are you doing the best you could to actually resolve it? And you know, anorexia is one of those conditions that might seem easy to treat. Oh, just eat things, yeah. But that is, I've clearly never suffered from anorexia, but I have a nagging feeling that telling people with anorexia, well, just eat things, is sort of like telling depressed people, well, cheer up. Well, they can't cheer up, and it's very difficult to eat for people with anorexia, and that is what makes these things, diseases, illnesses, mental disorders, and so on and so forth. These are just some of the criteria that you could ask yourself, but again, this is primarily an issue for a medical professional first, and then for a spiritual father as well. And each of these needs to treat their field of the issue separately. It would be, in an ideal world, it would be in unison, but we do not live in an ideal world. So I hope I was of some use to you. And may God help you in your struggle. Bye.